Yo guys, what's going on? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be going over the Marvel Rivals Season 2 Balance patch notes. What I'll do is read out the changes and state my opinion for those who just want to listen, so let me not do too much talking and let's get straight into it. Starting off with the Vanguards, we have Captain America. Steve will undergo some adjustments to his survivability, leading to a slight decrease in his overall resilience. Reduce base health from 675 to 650. Reduce the shield value of Living Legend from 400 to 350. These changes aren't really too crazy, so I won't be melodramatic, but it is sad to see the direction of where Captain America is going. You know, his shield HP should not be dropping. The HP reduction doesn't really matter since he's getting a team up buff this season, and the team up buff is basically an additional 100 HP and 5% more damage to his overall damage output. With this buff, his health should be sitting around 750. I just don't like the fact that he's becoming more of a bullet sponge, you know. I'd rather his shield get the HP instead because it has so many more applications. Captain America is already an underwhelming character, and players revolving him always basically just relies on the shield and the player's creativity essentially to react and utilize it in the best way possible in that moment. It's almost like when magicians pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Hopefully this is just a one-off nerf because they were scared that he was going to be too broken with the team up, with him being too bulky and having damage, because we all know how weak this character is and they should too. Doctor Strange. The Sorcerer Supreme will see a reduction in his offensive capabilities, limiting his battlefield control. Decrease daggers of Denac damage per projectile from 18 to 16. Reduce the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic to damage from 1.3 to 1.2. I'm actually glad to see a power reduction to this character, because honestly it was an absolute joke. Like, this guy had way too much power, it was getting silly. This character had everything you could ask for, like what? Survivability, offense, defense, utility, crowd control, like what is even going on? He didn't even need to be this massively overtuned, but thankfully the devs actually realized that and have started to tone him down, so hats off to them. Moving on to Hulk. The Green Goliath will boast enhanced maneuverability and improved survivability upon entering combat. Increase base movement speed from 600 to 650. Reduce cooldown time for indestructible guard from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Decrease the minimum charge for Incredible Leap from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds. These changes are okay. You know, I like the fact that they're trying to make Hulk survive longer in fights, because as it is right now, he just gets smashed up in a matter of seconds. But to be honest though, these buffs shouldn't really make too much of a difference, but I guess he can survive for maybe an extra 2 to 3 seconds, maybe. I don't know why the devs aren't just addressing the elephant in the room, or just give this character some damage. You know, Hulk should be a genuine threat where his damage is big and Hulkish and it won't go unnoticed. This character needs respect as a guardian. Right now in his current state, he doesn't have it. Magneto, the master of magnetism, will experience a slight decrease in the frequency of his ultimate ability. Increase energy cost for Meteor M ultimate ability from 3100 to 3400. Personally, I think Magneto should have been left alone. Getting your ult fast enough to shut down support ults allows the game to actually progress and move forward. Absolutely nobody wants to be fighting over a point for 15 minutes. At least the nerf wasn't too strong, so we should be able to get it relatively fast, but not as quick, obviously. Peni Parker. Penny will receive enhancements to her primary attack damage efficiency and a boost to her survivability and combat capabilities. Cyborg Cluster now has a chance to crit and will also have a reduced movement speed penalty whilst firing from 40% to 20%. She will also receive an increased base health from 650 HP to 750 HP. I always felt like the primary fire was lacking, so I'm glad to see it being made more effective. More health so she doesn't really fall over as quickly is a nice addition. This should actually allow her to have a bit more survivability when ulting, but I actually would have liked to see an increase in HP regen speed from the webs that she puts down, just to help her lockdown potential just a little bit more. I know people don't like playing against this character, but it takes nothing for a flanking hero to destroy the nest. The Thing will see a slight reduction in his damage reduction effect. Decrease Embattled Leap's damage reduction effect for himself and teammates from 30% to 25%. Not really sure why this character's getting a nerf. I mean, he's not really that good, but I guess he's alright, you know what I mean, with that reduction. But I didn't really think it was too strong to get nerfed. His ultimate's really good, but I feel like it needed to be faster because it is reactable. Let's be honest, like, it doesn't really hit too many people and doesn't really cover a large area either. Maybe buff his ultimate just a little bit, but maybe lower the charge rate. That's what I would have done, and I think that should have been a change, but I guess we'll accept what he's got for now. And last on the list we have Thor. The mighty Thor will receive an increase in survivability with an increase to his base health from 525 to 600 and increased movement speed from 600 to 665. To be honest, this is a needed change, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. When playing Thor, you have to play quite aggressive to get any like real value with your Thor force, and more more time you're going to be running into a lot of rockets using their team up with a Punisher or a Bucky. Obviously, this is devastating for Thor. Hopefully one of these patches that maybe might allow him to chain his abilities together without the 1 second cooldown, so it just feels a bit more fluid when attacking. You can already see that the character's underperforming, so maybe you might see something like this in time to come. Moving on to Duelist and starting off with Black Widow, Natasha is receiving optimizations to her shooting experience. They've added a new effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer, and after using Electroplasma Explosion, the ultimate ability. This is a nice quality of life change, but I feel like this should have been added a while ago, but at least it's here now. I know dive characters are definitely sweating about this because as soon as they get in close range and they get kicked, they're definitely getting shot every single time. I think it would have been nice to add her akimbo pistols personally, just so she has something, you know, close to medium range instead of those batons, but I guess we'll see in future patches because I know this is a strong opinion or a strong change that people actually are requesting for. Next we have his Hawkeye. We're improving Clint's mobility whilst drawing his bow, enhancing his combat capabilities and increasing the threat of his ultimate ability. They reduce the slow effect while charging the bow from 30% to 20%, increase both instances of damage for hypersonic arrow from 50 to 55, decrease energy cost for Hunter's Sight, the ultimate ability, from 3700 to 3100, and improve the bow draw speed increase from 1.35x to 1.5x. I didn't think this character needed to be buffed. He was in an okay spot. You just needed to be very accurate to make him work, but there's nothing wrong with that. I guess this change allows him to spam his ult a lot more so he can drop targets quicker with the quicker draw speed. Reducing the slow effect from charging will be nice since you do feel like a turtle when you are charging the arrow. And with this increased damage to hypersonic arrow and the lower charge rate for his ultimate, I'm assuming he can actually use his ability to farm ult a lot quicker than usual and have more impact in team fights. Not sure if this will turn him into the new Star-Lord, but I guess we'll see soon. Next we have is Hela. The goddess of death will see a reduction in mobility while slightly enhancing her offensive power. You'll see an increased cooldown time for her Astral Flock from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, and an increased spell field damage of Piercing Knight from 30 to 35, and a decreased cooldown time for Soul Drainer from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. I'm glad to see her mobility nerf. It always felt like she always had that flying ability up no matter what. She should be easier to track down now, 100%. I'm not really sure why they want to give her more offensive power. She's already strong enough. Like, I don't understand. Those daggers she shoots out might be a little bit dangerous, but if anything, it's going to help her build her ult a lot faster. Not really a fan of that CC being a low cooldown, but I guess they want to give her a fighting chance when getting dove, so it is what it is. Human Torch. Johnny's attack feedback and survivability are being improved to enhance his impact across various combat scenarios. They reduce the attack interval for Fire Cluster from 0.6 seconds to 0.5 seconds. The launch timing of the primary attack projectile has been advanced. They'll increase the cooldown for Flaming Meteor from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, but add a new effect. After releasing Flaming Meteor, immediately gains 75 bonus health, which will start to fall off 3 seconds later at the rate of 30 per second. I don't really know how much of an effect these changes are going to be to Johnny. I don't really play him, I don't really know anyone else that plays him, and I don't even play against him. The character just feels awkward to play, so as long as these changes make him feel a lot smoother, then I guess they'll be good. Iron Man. Iron Man has seen improvements to his mid-range combat effectiveness. Slightly reduce Iron Man's hitbox size, and he'll get a new feature to gain 100 bonus health when activating Armor Overdrive or Gamma Overdrive that will start to fall off 5 seconds later at a rate of 30 per second. A slight reduction to his hitbox isn't really going to do anything. The Overshield should help him out a little bit, but Hela and Punisher are still going to take him down with swiftness. I'm not sure why the devs are ignoring how bad his missile barrage is. If he could just lock onto a target, probably make his gameplay feel a lot better. Onto Iron Fist. Lin Lai will see an increase in his combat effectiveness against vanguards, a slight improvement to his mobility, and a slight reduction to his survivability when first entering the battlefield. They'll reduce the bonus max health gained from Harmony Recovery from 150 to 100, but slow the fall off rate of that health from 25 per second to 15 per second. They'll lower the fixed damage of Yatji Chung Kuen from 10 to 9, but increase the percentage damage of the enemy's max health per strike 1.7% to 2.1%, but also decrease the cooldown of Kuan Lun Kick from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Personally, I didn't think the changes made to Iron Fist were too bad, just that people weren't able to acclimate to the new playstyle, but with this increase in damage and reduction of cooldown on its movement ability, we should see a lot more Iron Fist players, standing on the front lines to stand and bang with the tanks. The time window to use his overshield ability needed to increase. It was almost gone by the time you approached anyone. Now on to Mr. Fantastic. We're enhancing Reed's capabilities while making some balance adjustments to his ultimate energy charge rate, adding additional control ability and optimizing the release experience of his ultimate ability. You'll see an increase in base health from 350 to 375 and a boost to the damage of Stretch Punch from 60 to 65 and 75 to 80 while in inflated state. Flexible elongation has a new effect to enemies in range when I'll suffer a 35% slow, and you'll also see a reduction to flexible elongation's cooldown from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. You also see a reduction to elasticity gained from elastic strength, the passive ability, from 30 to 20, while the elasticity provided by Stretch Punch is increased from 5 to 8. After entering the inflated state, the bonus health provided itself has been reduced from 450 to 400. A new feature you'll see on Mr. Fantastic is when Mr. Fantastic uses Brainiac Bounce, the ultimate ability, immediately he'll gain bonus health equal to that gained when entering the inflated state. I don't really know much about Mr. Fantastic other than him being a troll pick. These changes are big for him and it looks like he actually might be a usable character now. The only change I would actually want is for him to have maybe a decision to slam down between each interval of bounce in his ultimate, but other than that, I've got no other suggestions. On to Moon Knight with another wall of text. We're optimizing Mark's Moonblade projectile bounce feedback while improving maneuverability, ultimate ability, and survivability. You'll see an increase in crescent dart projectile speed from 120 meters per second to 150 meters per second. Moonblade's new effect will gain 25 bonus HP with each enemy hit, up to a max of 100. 3 seconds after the bonus health stops increasing, you'll start to see a fall off at a rate of 20 per second. You'll also see a speed of a Moonlight hook pull startup time after a hit from 0.4 seconds to 0.15 seconds, and they'll also extend the duration of Hand of Khonshu ultimate ability from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds, and they increased the number of talents generated during this period from 14 to 18. Additionally, the fall speed of the talents has been slightly enhanced. A new fall of damage mechanic for the spell field has been added, beginning at 1.5 meters from the center and reaching a maximum reduction of 70% at 5 meters. I hate this change, but it is needed to make it more viable. It just seems like my healers are going to be falling over very quickly, which I'm not looking forward to. The overshield is random, he doesn't even need it, but I guess it does help when he's gliding in the air, screaming shoot me. The speed up on the hook is great for repositioning, but going to be very annoying to deal with. Scarlet Witch. We're reducing Wanda's survivability by increasing her threat level against strategists and duelists while optimizing her ultimate ability release experience. They'll remove Chaos Control's percentage damage while increasing fixed damage from 60 per second to 80 per second. They'll also increase Chthonian Best projectile damage from 35 to 40 and the spell field damage from 35 to 40. We'll see an increase in cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 seconds to 10 seconds and reduce the phase state time from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. They've also reworked the slow effective reality ratio to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately, with a linear increase to a 35% slow over the 3.5 seconds. This character just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and it's getting scary. The auto-aim primary fire cannot be any stronger. It's way too easy to be made into a good primary fire. I'm sure my mum can even use Scarlet Witch at this point. If anything, they need to stick to buffing the secondary fire, which requires aim. Thankfully, the ult still seems like trash, but I'm pretty sure this character is very close to being viable in every level of play. Moving on to Star-Lord, we're reducing Peter's damage output and the efficiency of his ultimate ability charge rate. They'll reduce Blaster Barrage damage from 80 per second to 75 and introduce a new damage fall-off mechanic, starting at 4 meters and maxing out at 80% reduction at 8 meters. There's not really much to say, it's a much needed nerf. No character should be able to build their ult that easily, so yeah, this seems like a good nerf in my opinion. The Winter Soldier, every DPS's favorite character. They'll be lowering Bucky's threat level against Vanguards and reducing the margin for error in his ultimate ability. You'll see an increase in the cooldown time for Bionic Hook from 8 seconds to 12 seconds and reduce the damage of Kraken Impact ultimate ability from 100 to 80, while lowering the culling threshold from 20% of maximum health to 15. This character genuinely sickens me. It's not much of a nerf, but it's a start, and the devs can clearly see that he's doing too much, and hopefully we see more nerfs in the 2.5 patch if he's still superior to the other DPS characters. A nerf I'd like to personally see is him losing one bullet to his gun, so he can only fire 2 shots. I feel like this would relieve a lot of pressure, but still keep the lethality of his ult. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. I'm curious to what you guys think. And last on the list for the duel list, we have Wolverine, returning Logan's rage acquisition rate and slightly lowering his control intensity over enemies. An increased rage gained from Savage Claw's hits from 7 to 10, while rage gained from Berserk Claw strike has decreased from 7 to 5. The reduced rage gained from Feral Leap from 20 to 10, and from Vicious Rampage from 20 to 15. However, rage gained from taking damage has been increased from 3 to 5, but also reduced the time an enemy is knocked down after impact from Last Stand ultimate ability from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. Not really sure how much this is going to affect him, but it seems like they want to go in the direction of making him more brawl orientated rather than just being this character that just kidnaps tanks and that's it. Finally, onto strategists. We start off with Adam Warlock. We're slightly reducing the frequency of Adam's abilities and adjusting the healing provided by his ultimate ability after reviving teammates. We'll see an increase in cooldown for Soul Bond going from 30 seconds to 40 seconds, and the ultimate ability, Karmic Revival, now restores 30% of a full and ally's maximum health instead of a fixed 100 health. Soul Bond was clearly broken at high level play, so nerfing it is understandable, but I do believe giving him another heal would have been nice since not everybody is at a high level, especially when playing Adam. It's really a pity because he's actually one of the more interesting healers in the game that isn't just the heal bot, and the change to his ult is interesting since tanks will spawn back more HP while squishies will spawn back with less. But I guess we'll see how it goes on Friday with the nerf and buff. Cloak and Dagger. We're optimizing the logic of this dynamic duo's ultimate ability. After activating Eternal Bond ultimate ability, the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. Instead, they will remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point all will be removed altogether. This is a nice quality of life change. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see her in more teams going forward. The defensive ult is basically on the same level as Invisible Woman now, but actually does damage. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Invisible Woman. We fine-tune in Susan's protective capabilities to create a more strategic gameplay experience. Decrease the shield value of Guardian's shield from 300 to 250 HP. It's a slight nerf, but I don't really think it'll make that much of a difference. I'm guessing they wanted Invisible Woman players to actually think a little bit when placing their shield, rather than just spamming it to anyone who they see in front of them. Loki. To balance Loki's influence in matches, we're making a small adjustment to the frequency of one of his key abilities. We'll see an increase to regeneration domain cooldown from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. Honestly, it's a blessing that this ability is actually getting nerfed. I would have liked to see just a little bit more nerfs, maybe a slight increase in the cooldown, but this immortality field is just too strong, especially since all of his clones spawn one just by just pressing that one ability. And Loki is in a very good spot, and he's always has been since the release of the game. Mantis. To emphasize strategy over speed, we're modifying Mantis' health and buff mechanics. You'll see a reduction to her base health from 275 to 250, and the effects of Healing Flower and Allied Inspiration can now be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds. This is a nice quality of life change. I feel like this alone just makes her a little bit more viable and reliable when it comes to healing and buffing. One thing I don't really agree with is the 275 HP to 250. I feel like you should have still kept this bulkiness because she still has to fight, you know, in the mid-range to kind of get her orbs back or leaves back in order to buff and heal other people. So I'm not really sure why they did that, but hopefully they revert it back in the 2.5 patch. For the final character on the list, we have Raccoon. Rocket's healing abilities will see some adjustments to enhance team survivability while balancing his mobility. You'll see a decrease in the healing area of repair mode spheres from 70 health per second to 50 health per second, but add a new effect of a one-time healing of 55 health to allies hit. Projectile speed reduction increased from 4.5 meters per second to 7 meters per second. You'll also see an extension of cooldown for jetpack dash from 6 seconds to 10 seconds, and also reduced distance from 10 meters to 8 meters. For the final change, you'll see a reduction in CYA, Seer, ultimate ability, damage boost from 40% to 25%, but add a new effect during the ability's duration. Linked allies will receive an additional 100 bonus health points per second, capping at 150, but after breaking the link, this bonus starts to fall off after 1 second at a rate of 75 health per second. Additionally, you'll see the energy cost for the ultimate ability go from 3,700 to 4,000. So his heals actually require you to aim at targets now, which is a plus in my books, because nobody should be mindlessly shooting without thinking. I'm glad his mobility got touched and was reduced because he was way too nimble. He could literally escape from anything if played properly. What I don't think they should have done is actually turn his ultimate into a defensive ult. It was actually very unique in being a pure offensive ult. I think they actually should have doubled down and made an anti-heal zone on top of it. But With it being a defensive ult, at least they increased the ult charge, so it won't be getting it like every 2 seconds like it usually does right now. Finally, the team ups. There's not really much I can say about these without trying them in game, so I'll leave my thoughts until we try season 2 out on Friday. But I've been hearing Namor is going to be a problem with his gamma charged squids, but the question is, who's really going to be playing Cloak in his current state? Cloak feels like a troll pick nowadays, but I guess we'll see when the patch drops. That's kind of all I have to say for now. Let me know in the comments below from what you think on the patch notes, whether you like them or whether you hate them. And I'll see you guys next time. Stay blessed.